Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Corsepius and welcome to your Chem 128B course, Organic Chemistry 2. Y'all have already done one semester of this, so you're going to be pros here, all right? I just wanted to take a minute to make this video to introduce you all to our course policies and our Canvas page and sort of the other background stuff that we're going to need to keep in mind as we go through the course this semester. All right, so I'm going to start here with our course introduction module. Importantly, this has all of these important course policy pages here, all under this very first module. A module is kind of like a folder. All right, so all this different information that corresponds to our course policies you can find under this first module, our course introduction module. There are also some sort of quick buttons here to what I think is the most important pieces of information, our syllabus, my office hours, as well as the tutoring schedule here on the Fresno State campus. All right. Just to kind of start going through this here, importantly, turn on submission comment notifications, turn on notifications for submission comments, as well as while you're at it, make sure that your Canvas announcement notifications are on. But this is just to sort of get this notification if I do make a comment on an assignment or if I do make an announcement. All right. Here's where you can download our syllabus, and I want you all to read through this syllabus quickly. I do want to point out some key things to give you an idea of how the course is going to be run here. So just kind of going to our syllabus, importantly, like I said, Canvas announcements are going to be important. If any dates change or I mess up any content and need to clarify, whatever it might be, I'm going to send out that information through a Canvas announcement. So make sure you're receiving those. Okay, and I want to give you an idea of the types of assignments that we can expect for this course. All right, so our first type of assignment is a daily quiz. All right, and just to sort of note, it's talked about a little bit more down here under attendance, because this is how I will be taking attendance for the course. Attendance is mandatory. Everybody signed up for an in-person course, so everybody needs to be here. All right. I'm going to take attendance through these assignments called daily quizzes. Importantly, these quizzes are here to measure your participation in the class. They will open 5 minutes before the start of class. They will be due 5 minutes after the start of class, and then they'll close for good 15 minutes after the start of class. They're meant to be quick quizzes. They're not supposed to be super hard. If you've been paying attention with the course content, you should be good to go. They're just there for me to incentivize you guys to come into the classroom. All right, I know from experience that the kiss of death in this and a lot of science courses is people checking out for a period of time and then thinking that they're just going to pick right back up. It doesn't really work like that. All right, you miss a week of class, you're going to start to fall behind and get buried. And so in order to incentivize you to be there each class period, make your own life easier by helping you understand this material, come to lecture. There will be a few points there, 6 points per week worth of daily quizzes to incentivize you to come to class. Daily quizzes cannot be made up, but I understand that there's going to be reasons why people aren't able to come to class. So instead, you will have 2 weeks worth of daily quizzes dropped at the end of the semester. All right, so if for whatever reason you can't make it to class, you will get a 0 on that daily quiz, but then you get 2 weeks worth dropped at the end of the semester. All right, we have 2 types of homework assignments in this class, lecture assignments and end of chapter assignments. Kind of just want to scroll down to our first content module here. For y'all, we're going to first be doing a little bit of first semester review, important concepts from the first semester that you guys need to know. All right, so this is going to be our first content module here, our first semester review module. What you'll see is all modules will start with in this case, there's a series of pages because it's first semester review, but usually there's just one introduction page where it goes over the learning objectives for that chapter, right? So what it is that I expect you to know, sort of like a study guide for that chapter, okay? We'll have our daily quizzes. I'll also post lecture videos, so after lecture, I'll record my lectures and I will post those videos. But going down to these 2 types of homework assignments, we have lecture assignments and then end of chapter assignments. And so what I wanted to note is that we have a bunch of lecture assignments here, each not worth very many points, 2 points each. And then there's only one end of chapter assignment, but it's 15 points each. So what's the difference here? So lecture assignments are your low stakes assignments in the course. These ones, you have an infinite number of attempts to get correct, but they're not worth very many points here. This is where you're going to practice this material first that we're learning in class. Make sure you understand those concepts. Get all the kinks out on your lecture assignments, because then you're going to go to your end of chapter assignment, and this is where you're going to prove to me that you actually learned this stuff. So all this same material is packaged into this new end of chapter assignment. This is now your medium stakes assignment, insofar as now you don't have an infinite number of attempts to get a problem right. Each incorrect attempt is going to cost you a certain fraction of points, all right? And then once we have a few chapters under our belt, we'll roll those all together in an exam, right? So these are now your high stakes assignments, the exam. Now you got just one shot to get it correct and prove to me that you understand that material, okay? Importantly, exams are going to be held at the Bulldog Testing Center over a usually 2, maybe 3-day period. You're going to need to be very careful about what you bring with you into the testing center. They're very strict about electronic devices, including smartwatches. Everything needs to be turned off, because if anything goes off in the middle of the exam, you'll be asked to leave. Okay, importantly, and I'll sort of point this out somewhere else as well, but you'll need a student ID in order to access the testing center. So if you do not already, please get a student ID. Okay, and then once we get to the end of the semester, then we have our championship game, our final exam. This is this cumulative final exam where we cover all topics from the semester rolled into one. All right. Importantly, missed exam policies. If you have a serious and compelling reason for missing an exam, you're going to need to notify me, and you need to do so within 24 hours. I'll handle this on a case-by-case basis. We're going to have to agree on a time for you to make up that exam. Importantly, you do need a serious and compelling reason for missing a class. That's sort of university language. Important to keep track of, because all exams will count towards your final grade. There's no exam that I'm going to drop at the end. So you're responsible for your grade throughout the semester. Importantly, our grading scale here, 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 a B, 70 to 79 a C, 60 to 69 a D. Anything below that is an F. Your grade will be kept up to date on Canvas throughout the semester, so make sure it's within whatever range you are aspiring it to be in, okay? And then lastly, based on those different assignment categories, this is about the weighting of those different assignments. But importantly, this is just approximate, because I don't lock these percentages in. In my course, points are points. So that means a point on a daily quiz is the same as a point on the exam. The difference is an exam's worth 100 points and a daily quiz is just, 6 per week. Okay, so that's kind of how that weighting comes in. But if, for example, there's any new assignments added or assignments taken away, it'll change this weighting ever so slightly. All right, so these are not locked into place. They're just to give you an idea of how important each one of those categories are. All right. Going back here, so again, read through the syllabus on your own and take a look at our lecture schedule. This is what topics we're going to cover when, or maybe more importantly, the exam schedule. You can find our exam schedule posted here on Canvas, so put these dates in your calendar now, all right? As well as my office hours for the semester and our SI tutoring hours, okay? Importantly, in terms of the cost associated with this course, there is no cost associated with the textbook. We're going to be using this free online textbook. You can click this link here and download a PDF of our textbook, but there is going to be a cost associated with our SmartWorks online homework system. Okay, so this is something that you will have to purchase. You can follow this link here, follow the video in order to sign up for SmartWorks. It's going to have you click one of our first assignments here in order to get started. You can do a 2-week free trial, but after that, you're going to have to pay for the homework system. Importantly, you can pay online or you can purchase a code from the bookstore. Some students get confused about the code. They ask me if I give you the code. No, that's just a different way of purchasing the online homework system. So you either just buy it online, or if you're going to purchase it from the bookstore will give you a code, and that's what you would use to sign on to SmartWorks. But in any way, shape, or form, you're going to have to buy our SmartWorks homework system for the course. All right, and then lastly, just to clearly state, you can read through this. Bottom line, you got to have a Fresno State student ID in order to access the Bulldog Testing Center. Okay, so make sure you get one of those if you do not already have one. Okay, and then the last things you're going to do for me to start off this semester are these 2 introduction assignments here. This is going to be a public personal introduction assignment where you introduce yourself to the rest of the class, and then a more private personal introduction assignment where you introduce yourself to me privately, and you can let me know anything that you would like to let me know that you don't want broadcast to the rest of the course. Okay? All right, so welcome to your Organic Chemistry 2 course. I look forward to meeting everybody for our first meeting of the semester.